Check, 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 check. Perfect. Pick it up.
Check 1, 2.
Perfect.
Yep. Gonna be there. My Michael McDowell check.
That's funny you say that because I literally said this over today. I'm like, I'm gonna ask if you ever want to do an R&B album because I feel
I love
you'd be a real good Michael McDonald.
Well, this record I got, there is a couple R&B songs on there.
Really?
Kind of R&B-ish. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So we're here, and we're not gonna say what bar we're at because we're so not to say it, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We're here with a guy that I've been watching grow in his group for the last 15, 16, 17 years. Charles Kelley from Lady A.
What's up, man?
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. This is awesome. I rode over here on my bike. Got a little come in, get a fresh cigar.
And we got some golf on TV for it?
Oh, yeah, sure. I know. I just put my picks in this morning. I do this year-round like group, where you pick a player for every tournament, and then somehow you can only pick them once, and somehow I still haven't picked McIlroy and DeChambeau, and so you get 2 picks for the majors.
How have you not picked her?
I don't know. I think I kind of knew I wanted to save, so I had like Scheffler for the Masters. I had and I still don't know how I still feel like I'd pick McIlroy for something, but maybe I didn't. But so if one of those dudes doesn't do well, something's wrong. One of them's got to do well. Those are like 2 of the hottest golfers out there.
One of them has to do well. I mean, Tiger's not in anymore, so
Man, I know. I still hold out hope. I'm one of those guys that are like, dude, you're crazy. I still hold out hope.
I feel like I'm holding out hope too because I feel
even just one tournament.
One more.
Maybe not a major, but
I just want one more.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
I don't know.
Like you said, it doesn't be a major. It could be a small one, but just one more and then retire.
Retire right. It's happened. I mean, if you, again, though, his body, he's put it through so much, and then of course with those accidents. But man, if anybody can do it and would defy the odds, he kind of also did do that. I remember his last Masters was after was a comeback.
Yeah,
it was after
the back comeback.
Was it that, or was it? I can't remember. Or was it the golf club through the window? I can't remember. It was one of them. He's had a few. For one of the quietest, it was the longest time you couldn't get in there. But he's had some moments.
But his son is a
badass. He's badass.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's gonna be great. But that's a lot of pressure too.
That is a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah. So we're gonna do is we're gonna knock out 2 episodes in 1 hour.
I love it.
But I wanted to talk to you because, first of all, we're gonna go back to Lady A.
Yeah.
Because there's some questions I gotta ask.
I love it.
You guys have kicked ass for the better part of 15.
We've had our ups and downs.
We've had your ups and downs, obviously. Yep. Which every band does.
Yep.
My first question, I've always wanted to ask the group this, and I've asked Old Dominion this.
Yeah.
But how did y'all figure out what song you were gonna record? Did you? Was there a battle royal going?
No, we're pretty. I will say, man, it's one of those things that we're pretty. We always kind of end up finding our way with everything. I mean, there's a couple times I've had to or vice versa. Someone will have to talk, sell the song, so to speak. Right. But there's never been if one of us is so passionate about it, no one's going to be no, we're not going to do it. I think you're wrong. But there was one song that I always talk about. Downtown was one that had gotten sent to us, and we had come off a lot of ballads and stuff, and I was like, man, we need a female, just badass song. And the funny story about Downtown was it was written, and actually Miranda Lambert had it on hold. And we were going in to record before, and somehow one of the other publishers had pitched us Downtown, and then we come to find out that Miranda has it on hold. And I remember texting Miranda, I said, Miranda, I know you have this, but how passionate are you about this song? Is it like a hold of a hold, so people know, is when you hold a song to record it from a different songwriter, and basically it's don't show anybody else this song because we're going to record it. But sometimes artists will hold 50 to 100 songs and almost hold them hostage for a while. But Miranda was probably going to cut it, but she said, we were just such close friends. She was like, you know what? Y'all are going in before me. Y'all go cut the song. And we really needed that song. From a touring perspective, You know, like songs like Downtown and Bartender and You Look Good. I mean, those are, you know, you cannot be a touring live band without some bangers.
You Look Good, or You Look Good is my hands down one of my favorite Lady A songs.
Thank you, man.
Hands down. Mainly because of the horns
Oh gosh, yeah.
and the saxophone.
Yeah.
Like you don't get that in country music.
Yep.
And when you guys did it, I'm like, oh, then you guys did it live and you put Marvin Gaye in the middle of it?
No, it was Bill Withers at the end. Before you use me up, bum, bum.
Yeah.
So that song, we probably write about 75% of our music, but every now and then a really great song comes in there. And You Look Good was one that Mike Busby, who, you know,
Yep.
we know Busby passed about, gosh, I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years ago now. He was producing that record for us. And we were getting through the record and he was like, "Man, we need a train wreck." And I was like, "What do you mean?" "We need a song that people are like, what the hell is that?" And so he played it for us, and I was like, "Man, that's badass. I don't know if that's Lady A, but that's badass." And I was like, I'd live with it. I remember the next day I come back, I said, "Let me just throw my vocal on it." And then we did, and I was like, "What if we make it a duet?" And it just came together, and it was funny. We played like the first 5 songs for the label, and we weren't even that, you know, it wasn't really that much on our radar. We're like, it's a fun song. And sure enough, the label's like, play that one again, play that one again. And it went to number 3 because there was 2 stations that wouldn't play it because of the horns.
Are you shitting me?
Isn't that wild? And then we were like, well, what about Johnny Cash's dun da 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 da? But they wouldn't play it because of the horns. But it's the biggest number 3 we've ever had. I'll tell you that much.
That's great. It's amazing. Well, it shows you, that gives people insight on how radio really works.
Well, it's tricky, man. I mean, I get it. You know,
Understandable.
there's some things that it gets pushed so far, but the thing about it always has been. I mean, I remember they used to call, you know, Kenny Rogers too popped for, you know, country. And then you got, now I remember I listened back to our first record and I remember I was like, man, are we country enough? And I listened back to that record. I'm like, damn, that sounds like a country record. You know, it's changed so fast.
It changed,
But now it's kind of feels like it's coming back a little bit.
yeah, it's coming back around. You know, when you have Cody Johnson, you have,
Yeah.
you know,
Zach Top.
Zach.
My God.
Oh God.
If anybody doesn't listen to Zach Top and not think that he's going to be one of the biggest,
That's a country.
he's about to have a massive,
Yeah.
like, next 5 years, in my opinion, because it doesn't feel put on. There's some people out there that are doing that, but it feels like they're putting the voice on.
And
His is authentic.
the thing about it is that, you know, he just got his first #1 and he sold out Ryman 2 nights in a row.
It doesn't surprise me, man. This day and age, too, when you're
Like I couldn't get a ticket.
when you're on fire, man, it just like it's fun to watch how like something goes so fast. Like Ella Langley, how
Yeah.
I remember seeing her at this like little showcase thing, and then all of a sudden it's just, you know, and you know, wasn't much different. I mean, you know, I have to admit, when we started, it was kind of like that. It was like we started playing Third and Lindsay right down the street right here, and we would play there, and we played probably every 2 weeks, and it just grew and grew and grew. And by like our 5th or 6th show, you know, we had like 3 labels there, just because everybody was looking for something different, a group or something. And when it hits, man, it's pretty cool to be on that rocket ship, and so it's fun to watch.
You guys were on a rocket ship for damn sure when you guys released Need You Now. Yeah, I was there. I think I told you this. I was there when you guys first performed in Philadelphia
Oh wow,
at World Cafe Live.
yeah.
And I don't think you guys had recorded it yet.
Yeah, I don't think we had either. I mean, it was one of those songs that we had just, it was in our back pocket. I didn't really think that much of it, and you know, we used to go in and to the label and play them all the songs we had written that year, you know, and be like, you know, just to get a little extra feedback. Because sometimes I think when you write songs, sometimes you got to hear it from a few people that something's great. Because I will admit too, I'm the worst at picking singles. I've always been like, I remember off that record, I was like, Our Kind of Love, which ended up being a #1. But if I'm honest, Our Kind of Love has not done really. It was a
It
#1.
was #1, but it wasn't as good as.
I would call it a filler #1.
Yeah.
But like, I remember going, this is the song. This is the song. And they say, no, it's Need You Now. I was like, all right. And so it is. It's wild to see the journey of it all. But we had about a 5-6 year run there where I will say, looking back, you almost don't realize in that moment, you think it's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
And you can only really appreciate it till I think you have some extra years. And now the thing that I appreciate is just that we've done it and we still have longevity. I mean, we're definitely not, selling out 25,000 tickets like we used to, but at the end of the day, we're still here and we're still doing it and we've got this body of work.
Okay, so this is my question. That you hit on the 25,000 seat tickets, and you guys aren't selling that anymore. Has it like did it like does it bring on any insecurities with the group
Maybe in the big
when you start like becoming I don't want to say becoming old, but becoming like a
legacy. Yeah.
a legacy act.
Now I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Well, here's the thing that happens that I've noticed. You either got to be hot as a firecracker, young and like starting and feel like people are discovering you in that first 5 years. And then naturally there becomes like a little bit of just a little, all right, we've seen it, we've done it, another album. And then I feel like you have to get through the middle years to then become the legacy act. Like, look at what Flats are doing. Look
yeah.
at what Brooks and Dunn. It's almost like then it's like, oh yeah, all the people that grew up with your music and live with your music as they get older, they want that nostalgic factor. So, we're still kind of in that middle year, but we've intentionally taken like literally about 3 years off, maybe 3, 4 years of making music because, well, Hillary's having another baby. I just found out I'm having a baby in October. Hillary's having one in July. But we've kind of unintentionally taken this break that as we're working on the music, I'm like, this is our moment to become that legacy act. I said, this is going to be a really big, important part of our career. And I don't know, man. I don't feel the chase like I used to. I don't feel like I have to. I kind of appreciate where we are and we can still out and we do great business. I mean, we sell great tickets. I'm just saying that we weren't in that during EG now. I mean, every show was just sold out instantly. It was just, and you think it's going to be like that forever. And then you kind of hit this. I remember like the next tour was a little less, next tour was a little less. And you're like, huh, this is interesting. But I will say we hit a gold mine. I remember one year we had a new act. His name was Sam Hunt and he had one hit and we locked his ass in. 6 months later, he was like the biggest thing in country music. And I remember going out there and seeing all these like beautiful young college girls out there for him. And I mean, he sold so many tickets for us and all that. It was really cool to watch. I mean, he was on a rocket ship and it's just fun again to like watch that. We've had so many artists like Kelsey Ballerini. I mean, Carly Pierce, all these people open up for us and to see what they're doing now.
You know, it's fun. It's funny. Let me get an ashtray right here.
Here. Okay. All right, let's go.
All right. So it's funny you say that because I remember my first concert in Tennessee. I just moved from Philadelphia, and I had called Ravs on the radio, and I was like, "Hey, can you get me some tickets to McGraw?"
Yeah.
And McGraw was playing Knoxville, so we drove to Knoxville, and I get there, and I didn't realize, had no idea that y'all were opening.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that tour. It was awesome. I mean, dude, we opened up, our first tour was Martina McBride.
Mhm.
I don't know how we got on that tour. We had never performed on a big stage ever. And we had just had our single out. So we didn't even have a hit yet. And I remember it was us, Jack Ingram, and then Martina. And I think it was because our producer, produced her as well. And somehow like was like, you got to put these guys on the road. I think it cost us like $6,000-7,000
a night
to show, and I think we were making $2,000. We lost about 150 on that tour, but it was worth it. And but to get in front of those audiences, and Hillary and David and I, we had to learn how to like interact, especially like with duets. Like, how do you move on stage when it's not just a solo artist? Like, you have to pay attention to each other, and so it was such a good learning ground. And then I think shortly after that, we got to be on the Chesney tour. We got to do Tim McGraw. I mean, these amazing tours. And so I don't know, maybe I feel a little bit like that, like I'm sure they did. It was like watching us grow up and then have success. And then the same thing is how I feel when I see, I mean, countless. There's so many artists that have opened up for us.
it's insane because it's like I think I was when I saw you guys open for Tim. I think Dave. I think you and Dave were still helping the stagehand still off the stage.
We probably were. That's part of it.
I think you guys were still doing that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, there. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
is that Dave pushing it? Like, oh, yeah.
probably.
I was like, he ain't a star yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
When you're in the open act and you're actually having to like your band's having to like tear down the drums and stuff, that's when you know. That's when you know you're making $2,000 a show. we can't afford. We can't afford a crew.
oh man. So while we're on the Lady A subject, I also wanted to talk to you about. You recently did an interview where you said one of your biggest regrets was not allowing you guys to be the feature
Oh,
on Darius Rucker's
it.
Wagon Wheel.
Well, and you know what? I probably unfairly called out the label on this. We had a manager at the time, and I'm sure they had a conversation between them, and I'm sure their managers. I'm sure it was like Darius's manager and our manager was like, "Listen, like we said, radio is so difficult. If you give an excuse for someone not to play a song, they will." And they were like, "We're afraid that if y'all song gets played and then they have Wagon Wheel up there, they might want to not play Wagon Wheel or vice versa. If like Wagon Wheel just played, well, they're not going to play another song with y'all's voices on it for another hour." So it's like these weird, like, which I think is overthinking.
Yeah.
And now you see, like, it's like Morgan's on every song that comes on and all these different artists.
I was going to say, like, because nowadays I worked at a station here in town. I'm like, oh, before COVID, we were playing Morgan and Thomas Rhett
Yeah, I know.
an hour.
And honestly, I think no one knew how big of a juggernaut.
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 I don't know.
I don't know.
Juggernauts. But it was such a massive song. I mean, even he didn't. It was like his last song off his record. I don't even think Darius knew what he had. He just said, "I just love the song. It was something fun I was want to do."
It was funny because it's like a friend of mine had told me she'd worked in the industry briefly, and she had told me that that he was going to release that song, and I literally went, "Why?"
Well, who know? I mean, all I remember is when we recorded, I was like, "Damn, this feels good."
Yeah,
And I was like, but I know the song. I was one. I feel like there was a handful of people that didn't know the original, and so I knew the original. Was like, this is really cool. What a cool song.
yeah.
And no, I just think you never know what you got, man, until you play it for people and just see the reaction. But it would have been cool, man. I remember when he won a Grammy for that. I texted him and I was like, "Dude, I'm so happy for you, but there's such a part of me that's so bummed because we could have been up there with you celebrating because he's my best friend in the industry. We golf together. We've done 2 tours together, and I'm still hoping we can do another one. That was talk about selling tickets. There's something about the package between our fan base is very similar, and I think that it's just a fun night. And he's got so many hits, and we've been lucky enough now that we've got it's a 2-hour show of songs people know.
I mean, but you've also written some of those hits for him.
Yeah, I did. I wrote "Homegrown Honey" and got a couple another one off his new record. I mean, he's just a great buddy. But that's one of those things that I'm just like, that would have been a cool. I mean, it's our voices are still on there, but to have it have said Darius Rucker featuring Lady A and have a Grammy on the wall, well, that just would have been badass. But you live, you learn.
Did you get your own Grammys though? You got your own Grammys.
Oh, I got my own Grammys. Yeah, we got 7, but I
want to say.
I want 8. I want 8.
You don't want to enter an odd number. You
I want 8. I know. No, I know. It's fun. We like I said, we had a run. There was 5 years there. It was like, I was like, damn, I guess this is just how it goes. And then you look back and you're like, it's been a long ass time since we won one of those awards. But also, I do think the music industry, it has to constantly
evolve.
It has to evolve, and it has to move on to new artists. I mean, that's the only way it thrives is by growing and I think that's the most important thing of the reason for these awards is not so much to say like, hey, here's another artist that win an award. It's let's see what's this Zach Top all about? What's this Ella Langley all about? And give them a chance to perform, because I know for us, when we performed Love Don't Live here on the CMAs, that was a massive moment for us. It was like, oh, now I'm putting the face with a name. Not, I get what they are. They're a group, and it's like, it's just cool.
Oh, no.
Yep. There was a lot of oh, no-nos. I get a lot of shit for the oh, no-nos. Every song. It was my go-to move, man. Speaking of Old Dominion, they got a good, they had what was their joke? It was, they had a joke that said, you know how to get, what was it? I can't remember what it was. And it was like, whoa, whoa. Well, like something like, how does Charles Kelley stop a horse? Whoa, whoa. something like that.
That's hilarious. I'm going back to you because like I said, you guys, your careers are your double career because you also have a solo career,
Yeah.
but your double career is, look, I've watched just grown and become successful. You guys really kicked in social media before any other artists really did. Let's talk. I mean, because like they're scattered, smothered in chunks.
Yes. Yeah, we did a lot.
Dickinson Grave.
We've I will say we've slacked since then. Once we had kids, the social media. I remember I like was the last person to get Instagram, last person. I still don't have a Twitter. Um, and I just got a TikTok because of all this solo stuff. I'm actually getting kind of into it now with this solo project just because I'm like, okay, this is how people listen to and discover new music now. But before all that existed, there was MySpace, but we took a camera out from the very beginning, even before we were signed, and then we had a buddy of ours. He was kind of our tour manager. He edited the videos together. He was really smart, Adam Boatman, and now he's a big manager and all this stuff. But he used to edit those videos together. And I remember we started. I remember like when Luke Bryan did like a series where he took a thing out, and I was teasing him. I said, "Oh," he goes, "Listen, man, it's a great idea." And so, where every week we would have a new episode, and just so people could see what we were up to and see our personalities.
I loved it. This is a Grave was my favorite one.
Yeah, that was
That was
yeah, it was the Lee Brice song,
yeah, Love Like Crazy.
Love Like Crazy, and I know I remember I talked to him one time. I was like, I wasn't trying to like be offensive, but I was just trying to like I wasn't like making fun of the song. I love the song. I said I just was doing a parody, and but that was pretty funny.
That was awesome. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Then you had the Easton Corbin one.
Mm-hmm. I had Easton Corbin one. I remember I had a Blake Shelton one.
Blake Shelton one too.
Yeah.
Good God,
Yeah, they were fun.
Those were the days. I need to bring those back.
That would be fun. I mean, we do. I think we're kind of excited about our next chapter. Like, I mean, I think Hillary, she said this will most likely be her last child, and Dave just had a baby within the last year. I'm about to have one, and I feel like after this season of our life, because for so long, I mean, I have to admit, we did not family was not as much of our priority.
Right.
Specifically, I will say for myself, I was so focused on the career that I had to get all my priorities in check. And I feel like now that we've done that, I feel like we can start dreaming about what the future looks, and we've, a lot of things have kind of come to light. I've gotten sober. We've just connected as a band so much more now. And it's like, it just naturally happens where you kind of take these little life ebbs and flows. And now we're kind of like, what can we do? What can the sound be that's going to feel fresh, still familiar, but like not just be like, okay, that's a nice Lady A song. Like, what's going to be the train wreck? What's going to be the, oh shit, that's badass,
Talk about Busby. Busby was the first person when I first moved to town who gave me advice because I was going to be a songwriter.
That sounds like him. He was the best.
And I literally, like, we didn't know each other. I was one of those days I was going through credits on the CDs and saw his name, and I realized he was one of the people that I saw multiple times on different artists. So if I could find it, I literally back in the day, sliding the DMs was Facebook Messenger.
Yeah. Yep.
So I called Facebook Messenger and was just like, hey, new to town, any advice? And he literally told me just write every day.
Yeah. Write every day.
Write every day. He goes, you're not gonna have, and every day you're not gonna have a good song.
Nope.
But just write every day.
And there's so much truth in that. I mean, when I look at, I would die if you heard the first 30, 40 songs that Dave and I wrote when we first moved to town. I mean, awful. One title we had was Carpe Diem is on vacation. That was the first song we wrote. So basically, like, seize the day is on vacation. So I'm not going to seize the day. I mean, that's how bad it got. It got really bad. It was bad.
I wasn't going radio.
No, Carpe Diem's on vacation. First off, someone would have to know what Carpe Diem meant. But I mean, you really do. You write a whole bunch of shitty songs until you, can I say sorry?
No,
right.
you curse.
Until like one pops up that's great. And then you write some more crappy songs until another. And then every now and then you start going, oh, okay. And it becomes this muscle. I think though, the key where I think I got to a point is to write as free and unformulaic. To get back to that place is hard to do. Once you know what a hit song's supposed to be, once you know the structure, and it goes here, and these little tricks, certain little tricks of how to do it. I do think sometimes, like our first single, Love Don't Live Here, was 2 verses before the first chorus kicked in. The first chorus doesn't kick in till like a minute and a half or a minute and 40.
And they always say it had your first chorus is to kick in the 30 seconds.
Exactly. And so that there's 2 choruses and an outro. So there's not even 3 choruses. And like it's a long song. It's like a 4-minute song. And like I don't know if I would write that now because I know, oh, it's time to get to the chorus. But it felt right. And and so to me, like, I don't know, I'm actually trying to kind of scrape back some of those layers that I've learned and actually kind of get back to just not overthinking it too much. Because, too, not every song needs to have some clever hook, turn of phrase. Sometimes it just needs to be "Need You Now," where I think this is why I didn't know it was so big. It's literally, listen to the chorus. It's 1:15. I'm all on. I need you now. Said I wouldn't call, but I lost the control. I need you now. It's like, okay, is that it? But that is, but it feels right. And everything has a purpose in those quick lines, but it's not like we wrote that song in an hour and a half. It wasn't like we walked away going, we just wrote, a song of the year Grammy. We didn't, we didn't know.
Wow. Well, the rest of the road knew.
I think it just felt good and hit the right chord,
It's basically a song about booty call.
It is. But like even the verse, I mean, if you look at the lyrics, there's not a ton of information there.
Yeah.
But I think little lines like 1:15, you know exactly what's happening, and that yearning that, but like Run to You, if I have to say what's the best song I've ever been a part of writing, Run to You lyrically and that was Tom Douglas, I can't take a ton of credit for that. I can take some credit for the melodies and stuff, but that lyrically, Tom Douglas. So, but at least I can put my name on it, and everybody's like, "Damn, that guy's brilliant."
Exactly.